All right.
Hi everyone, it's Friday, which is when I do my 5 favorite ingredients cooking show. Today I'm making a kind of Instapot, but you can make in a crock pot lasagna. This is a recipe for Billy. She asked for sweet potatoes, ground turkey or chicken, and greens. She listed off spinach as one of the greens she would like having. So this is a play off of a butternut squash lasagna that I've made that's gluten free. Uses the squash as the noodles. This time I'm using sweet potatoes. So I've prepped some, but I'll show you how I prep them. They're just going to be pretty thin, you know, because they're noodles. And the Instapot part / crock pot part, I've never done that before. This is an experiment, so when it's done cooking, Dave and I will tell you how it worked out. But from what I've heard, it's supposed to be really, really good for lasagna. So, ready?
Yep.
So when you're cutting up the sweet potato, pretty much when you're cutting up anything, you want to have a flat surface to start off with. So go ahead and take a small amount off and then flip it over so the flat side's down, and then just slice it into basically as thin a slice as you can manage. Mine are, I don't know, like 1/8 of an inch, but basically if you had a mandolin, that would be great to use for this, but otherwise just as thin as you can, and try and be consistent about it so they all cook evenly. Consistency is the name of the game. This one I just can't really get any thinner, so I'll just put that in the compost. So I've tried to make this basically a one pot thing, but it is best to brown the ground turkey in a skillet before you put it in the Instapot. It just has better texture that way. It would cook in an Instapot or a crock pot fine, but it would just be kind of mushy and watery. And I also want to get some of the spices to cook into the turkey because ground turkey is a little bland and boring on its own. So I've got about a tablespoon or so of olive oil heating in the pan. I'm just gonna swish it around the pan a little bit. This pan is not that hot, but use a pot holder if yours is. So just kind of cut into the turkey a little bit with your spatula, get it into little bite-sized pieces. Doesn't matter too much. And you're not cooking it all the way through right now, you're just getting it a little brown. And we're gonna go ahead and add some seasoning. So I'm kind of estimating all my seasonings, but I'd say about a little less than a teaspoon of kosher salt. About half a teaspoon of black pepper. About a teaspoon of dried basil. Teaspoon of garlic powder. And a teaspoon of oregano. And as much red pepper flakes as you want. I'm just doing a couple shakes, probably about half a teaspoon. I really like red pepper flakes in anything Italian. I just like a slight bit of kick to it. If you don't have all these seasonings, don't worry about it. I'm using kind of a basic tomato sauce, so that's why I want to add some seasoning to the meat. But if you get your favorite store brand or favorite tomato sauce, that'll have plenty of flavor in it. Or if you have a generic Italian seasonings little shaker of seasonings, that'll have all of these flavors in it. So you can just use that if your spice cupboard is not quite as big as mine. And now that the turkey's starting to brown a little bit, I have one diced onion that I've already prepped. I'm just gonna add it in, and that'll be it for the cooking part. So, just throw it in there. Give it a little toss with the spatula, and we'll let that just go for like 3 or 4 minutes till the onion's a little softened and translucent, and then we'll build the lasagna, and that's all you have to do for the cooking. So it's not quite as simple as just dropping it all in the crock pot, but it'll be a lot better having browned these vegetables a little bit first, or the meat. Okay, so I've added some tomato sauce to the hamburger and onion mixture, and now I'm gonna start actually layering the lasagna. And if you don't want to be this fussy about it, you could have just cubed the sweet potato and throw it all in, and it'll be more like kind of a gooey casserole. Still will taste like lasagna, it'll just not have that kind of layery look. So that's the easy way to do it, or if you want that more lasagna you feel, do it this way. So I'm gonna start by just putting a little bit of jarred tomato sauce in the bottom. That's just to keep the noodles, or sweet potatoes in this case, from sticking to the bottom. Needs a little bit more. Should be just a thin coating. Alright, so then we're gonna start layering the sweet potatoes in. So you just wanna kind of come across. They can overlap a little bit, but basically get all the edges. And then we're gonna add a layer of our cheeses. So we're gonna just plop some ricotta in there. And I'm not gonna spread it out really, because it'll just kind of melt in and spread itself out as it cooks. So you don't need to worry too much if it looks like just a bunch of plops of cheese, like it does for me right now. And then we're gonna add a bit of spinach. Whoops. I have exploding spinach again. All right. And then add your meat sauce on top. And just start layering. And I'm gonna do one more layer of everything in a crock pot, which is more oval shaped. You probably would just do 2 layers, and it looks like I have prepped too many potatoes, so Dave and I will have some roasted potatoes to eat as leftovers. So I'm just doing one more layer, and in this layer we'll top it off with mozzarella on top after I've put everything else on here. So the rest of the spinach. And the rest of my sauce. I'm going to spread that out a little bit and then dump in the rest of my just marinara sauce around it. Looks like I threw a little bit too much sauce into my middle layer. This layer is a little scant on sauce, but it'll be all right. And then we're just gonna top it off with some shredded mozzarella cheese. So if you're doing this in a crock pot, you would just set it on low for 3 to 4 hours. I'm doing that in an Instapot. I'm just gonna try it out using the potato setting on the Instapot and see how that does. So hopefully it'll be all cooked up for me and we'll be able to eat dinner in about an hour and a half or so. So I will have another segment showing you what it looks like when it's done, and we will have dinner.
All right.
Hi, so the Instapot portion of the recipe didn't work out so well. I tried cooking it that way. I don't think any of you have an Instapot, so it doesn't really matter, but as I thought might be the case, there wasn't enough moisture to pressurize. So I did it on a slow cooker, which meant it wasn't done in time for our dinner last night because I got it started late. So I'm having it for lunch today. And I think it probably was about 3 to 4 hours of cooking time that it ended up going, but I kind of left it running all night. So the potatoes seem to be nicely cooked now. And I think it's cooled off enough I can try it. I can tell you it was lovely having the smells of this all day yesterday as it cooked, because I love the smell of like tomato sauce. So here we go. It's good. It's very good. It's just that homey little feeling that lasagna gives you without any gluten for those gluten-free folks, and less carbs if you're counting carbs too. And I'm looking forward to finishing it off. And I did just sprinkle a little Parmesan on top too when I served it for myself, just to give it that little extra bit of flavor. So I hope you try this out at home and let me know how it turns out for you.